Hey all, so starting November 23rd, something called two-factor authentication will become a requirement to sign into your accounts. Before you get too excited, this is not very complicated, and I am going to try to lower that barrier to entry here through this video. I'm also going to try to explain why I am making this change. So what is two-factor authentication? Well, let me explain single-factor authentication first, and that is what we all have already been doing. That is a username and a password. It works great. However, there are some flaws to that, which two-factor authentication solves. So what is two-factor authentication? Well, as the name kind of implies, you have the first factor, which is your username and password, and after you've entered those two things, there is a second authentication method. And so for most of us, that is going to be a text sent to your phone with a code. You then take that code and you plop it in, and it says, okay, great, you are who you say you are. Sometimes there's a application on your phone which will pop up and say, is it you? And then you just click yes. So that's going to be primarily the second factor of authentication. And I'll get into why that is very, very good and why we need to do that. So without further ado, let's go over to our email account. Some of you'll probably have received one of these emails. Enroll in two-step verification to avoid being locked out of your account. So you can click on that link and that will take you through all the process. If you don't have that link, then go to your Gmail and you're going to click on your icon, your account icon, and then manage your Google account. I'll give you a second there. So icon, and then there, manage your Google account. It's going to take you in here, then click on security. Over here to the left, you should see security. Scroll down and you will see in the signing into Google section the two-step verification. If it is on, you can stop this video. If it is off, let's go ahead and proceed. So to avoid any identity loss, I am going to not record these next few steps, but they are very self-explanatory, and you shouldn't have any trouble following them. They involve entering your personal cell phone number and a couple other things which are very mundane and not complicated. So I'm going to pause this and start it back up once it's done. Okay, so I went through that process. I'm back on my settings page, and as you can see, it does say on. So now what I'm going to do is sign out of my account, which it might actually ask me to sign out to re-authenticate, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of initialize that process and then sign back in. Okay, so like normal, you're going to enter your password back in. And you don't have to go through this. I just wanted to show you what's happening on my phone. So I just received, which I guess I've got a lot of green on my screen. It kind of cuts out. But so I just received a text from Google, and it says, hi, you've got a code here that you need to enter. And as you can see here, it's asking for a code. So let's go ahead and enter that in my case, 928659. You don't have to be worried about somebody stealing this code because it always changes, and it only lasts for a short period of time. So we've got our code in there. Now, before you click next, be sure to select this, because for most of y'all, this is going to save you a lot of pain. And on campus, we don't have to worry about somebody, let's say, stealing our device. Okay, is there ways of spoofing a device? Yes, but for the most part, this should be sufficient. Okay, so we're going to click next, and that is it. Our device is now authenticated and we don't have to go through that process again. Now, you might have to use your single-factor authentication, so that's your username and password to sign into in the future. However, it probably won't ask you for that code again. And that is it. that's it. So now on my account, I have two-factor authentication enabled. Now, why are we doing this? Well, this is going to protect yes, it protects us and the information on our accounts, but I think more importantly, it protects all the people who trust us. So what happens in the case that somebody who a hacker hacks into my account and sends email? Well, they're using my authority and whoever I am in the eyes of the receiver. They are trying to steal that in order to trick, manipulate that recipient into giving them, the hacker, their information. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want somebody to use my account to hurt somebody else. I don't want the people that I have communicated with on my email to get hurt, right? So we want to protect those people. And a lot of times those people are your parents that are in your class, and people like that. So we need to be diligent to and bear that burden. We need to bear that burden, right, for those parents and those people to help protect them. And it's really not that much of a burden to bear. Now, before I wrap this up, if you're interested, there are some other things that you can do in order to secure your account even further. And there's a method. So like I said, two-factor authentication comes in different shapes and forms. One of them is with this cell phone technique. However, somebody could possibly capture your code, let's say. Maybe they capture your code. Maybe there's a way to impersonate your phone and they receive your code. Okay, so there's always a way, right? Well, there is another form of authentication, which is more like a key. It's a physical electrical device that you can carry around with you. There's this company called YubiKey, and they kind of became known as YubiKeys, but they're like a USB security key in more general sense. And what they do is, let's say you want to sign into an account and you have YubiKeys enabled. Well, what you would do is once you try to sign on, you enter in your username, password, like usual. Then it would also ask you for your YubiKey, and you would take that physical device, which no one can have. Nobody can have your physical device. I mean, yes, okay, somebody could, right? But for the most part, we will have it. And then you'd plug it into your device, and then push a little button on that YubiKey, and then it would authenticate you that way. So it adds a far greater level of security. And then as well, so that's pretty much the extent that I want to get into of two-factor authentication. And so what does this do? Not only does it protect us, but more importantly, it protects those other people who trust you. So that's why that's why we need to enable it here on our domain. So thanks for watching this. I hope it was helpful, and hopes it just completely lowers that barrier to entry, takes all the scary out of it, and we can just get on with business as usual. Thanks.